But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get them for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man.
You standing on somebody else's porch. You don't live there. And because the man just said, hey, I live here. Now, Ocho, you hear what she said? You have to understand my point of view. We're always asked to understand their point of view. All the while, never seeing our point of view.
Peace, beautiful family. This is King Messiah. Make sure you hit that subscribe button. We are growing, and I appreciate y'all support. Besides, it's free. Today, we're talking about Michelle Bishop, the white woman who accused the black developer of chasing her down, and she's yelling for help, all while he's in front of his home. But the thing is, she didn't believe he lived there. Is it because she didn't believe a black man can afford a home in such an affluent neighborhood? Let's hear what Shannon Sharp had to say about the story. We're also going to show the video. And lastly, we're going to show her explain what happened in her own words. This is King Messiah.
Let's take a look at the video, Ocho.
Knock on the doorbell. Ring the doorbell. We need you. What's going on?
Do you live here?
Yeah.
You do?
Papa.
I don't believe that.
What?
I don't believe that.
So what are you doing here?
Rory, come on. Rory, come on.
Hey.
They just left the store?
Did someone come here?
That was my wife. Somebody chased her up here. And she had kids.
Who chased her?
She said somebody in the silver truck.
in a gray truck, and he came around the corner, and I was in the street, and so I come up, and I just have my kids, and so I'm like, gonna pretend that I'm coming home, and so I pull up, and I start walking to your back gate, and he stops here, and he goes, are you looking for someone? And I said, nope. And then he sat here, and I was like, I need to get in.
Well, that's my husband. That's why he lives here. Yeah. He lives here. So he came in and he said there's this lady screaming, and I'm like, that's...
She got all worried that
scared the crap out of me.
How?
I'm so sorry. How did he scare you, though?
I just seen her in the driveway, and I was like, are you looking for somebody? Because I was pulling up out.
And I saw someone walking in our driveway, too, and I'm like, why is someone walking in our driveway?
Well, I'm sorry.
All right, sorry.
She said that someone was following her. So you were walking from there?
No, you came this way, didn't you?
No, I came down this street right here.
Yeah.
And I was riding slow because I'm looking at our Christmas lights.
Well, you just have to understand my point of view. Being by myself with 2 kids, I just saw a car coming, and so I was like, oh, it scared me, and so I just pulled up here, and I kept thinking, this could be his house. But you didn't say, this is my home. You just said, are you looking? I was like...
I did. When you was on the porch, you asked me, did I live here? I said, yeah.
And you said, no, you don't.
And you said, I don't think you do.
It was obviously, you could tell that I was really caught off guard.
Like, I'm pulling in my... It's like I'm pulling in my house. Like, this is not... This neighborhood is probably one of the best neighborhoods in Ohio.
It is.
You don't have to worry about stuff like that.
Well, I'm very sorry. I really hope that you're not upset with me.
Come on, baby, go in the house. Let's go.
You told me that I didn't. You said you didn't think I lived here.
It was the way that you were talking. I was so caught off guard. I'm so sorry.
You standing on somebody else's porch. You don't live there. And because the man just said, hey, I live here. Now, Ocho, you hear what she said? You have to understand my point of view. We're always asked to understand their point of view. All the while, never seeing our point of view. You don't get to stand on my porch and ask me a question about my D house. What are you doing on my front doorstep? You see what she did? And she went running screaming. Now, call the cops. Now he gets blasted. Oh, this man was chasing me. See, they had to release the video because she was lying. So she left them no choice because they tried to handle it. They handled it way, way better than I would have ever handled it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Obviously, listen, depending on who it is in that influent neighborhood,
You see?
there's some people
You
that would handle it
supposed to be
a whole
there.
different way.
Affluent
Yeah.
doesn't rhyme with black. Affluent is
you're
only
not
supposed to mean a certain group need to look
yeah,
like
yeah.
her. She's like, you have to understand, of somebody alone with 2 kids. Clearly, you're not that concerned because your ass
Right.
outside in the dark with you and your 2 kids. So
Two kids,
clearly,
yeah.
you're not concerned.
So first I want to look at, they made some valid points. She's out at night with her 2 children. Imagine if she was armed. Imagine if she had firearm on her. She potentially would have shot at him. That's how scared and in fear of her life she appeared to be. She could have really deleted that man. So I think it's important to notice that, fear will drive you to doing some crazy things. Now, she said she was being chased, so she lied. Another person said, you're not familiar with that truck pulling into probably one of the nicest houses on the block. That's something that we have to ask. I mean, there's so many questions about this story, but I do feel like she has some prejudice and she is definitely dealing with some trauma. I don't know where it came from, but she is not normal because that is not normal behavior to see a car, don't know where that car is pulling into and immediately start to run. If you're that scared at night, you shouldn't be out at night with your children. And thank God she didn't have a gun. Let's get to it.
Her chasing her, following her is what I said. I use the word chasing, following me. And so she said, I jumped out of the car and I said, I'm so sorry. I said, literally, I was pretending that your house was my house. I was walking up the driveway and then I was like turning in. I was pretending that it was yours. And she goes, yeah, that was my husband. And so he ends up coming out and he's like, I told you this was my house. And I'm so sorry. I said, it was such an awkward encounter. I said, the truck was like starting to slow behind me and I'm out here with my little girl and my son. And I said, I'm a mom and it was dark. And he said, but I told you that this was my house. He says, I was driving slow because I was looking at my Christmas lights.
So let's hear it from Michelle Bishop, the woman who was in the video screaming at the top of her lungs for no God-given reason. Hey, is she racist or was it just an honest mistake? What do you guys think? Let's listen.
So he ends up coming out and he's like, I told you this was my house. And at that point, I literally started, I said, I'm so sorry. I said, I am so sorry. And I told him, I said, sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. And then, I said, this is your house. That was my words. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, this is your house. I said, I truly kept thinking like, maybe this is his house. Maybe this is his house. And he says, well, I told you this was your house. And I said, you have to understand. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was such an awkward encounter. I said, the truck was like starting to slow behind me and I'm out here with my little girl and my son. And I said, I'm a mom and it was dark. And he said, but I told you that this was my house. He says, I was driving slow because I was looking at my Christmas lights. And once again, I said, I am so sorry. And they truly, they did not take my apology. And that night, I went home. And so if you guys saw on Instagram, I shared the story twice. I was so sorry. Like I felt really stupid. And, so on the way home, I forgot to say that the cop was driving around our neighborhood and, I'm getting all these messages. I'm so sorry. The cop was driving around our neighborhood and we stopped him and I jumped over, rolled the window down and I said, I am so sorry. I said, I'm so sorry. I said, it was his house. It was a misunderstanding. I'm so sorry. He was like, it's okay. I'm glad everything's fine. I was like, yes, it's fine. So I ended up, we went home and, that night when I got home, I had tears and I was making a cup of coffee. And if you guys know me, I put everything on Instagram. I talk all the time. It was an innocent mistake. I felt really stupid. I absolutely was crushed I felt like they thought I was stupid. I already felt stupid. I truly felt stupid. And I have to tell you guys, I have been on social media long enough to know that there's a lot of scrutiny. And so by me going live, I did not think that I was doing anything wrong. I was sharing the story of what happened, that better safe than sorry, how scary it was, just what I went through. Like, that's the only reason that I went live. At the end, I talked about how I felt stupid and how this couple, twice I apologized and nothing came of it. And so, yeah, that crushed me. I did feel really stupid. So that is the story of that night. Until about 2 weeks ago, maybe a little less than that John was sitting in the living room, and he called me the day prior, and he asked me a question about, did you ever say he said, did you tell the woman that he was black? And I said, no, I told her that I thought he was a young white man. He's like, I thought so. And I was like, that was really weird that he called and asked me that. So the next morning, I was doing my morning reading, and he sits down in front of me, and he's like, we have to talk. And so he told me that there had been a letter floating around our neighborhood that had been posted in our mailroom that had said something about a racist profiling in the neighborhood. And so, of course, you throw racism into the mix, it gets really yucky. And that was the furthest thing from what it was, to the point of literally, we have a handwritten letter from the woman's house that I went to. I'm trying to get the Ring doorbell footage of me standing on the porch telling John when he asked, you know, are you sure it wasn't a black man? And I said, I think it is a young white man. But she wrote a letter. She was like, I'm happy to speak on your behalf. You absolutely told me that you thought it was a white man. And so we had 2 days in a row, the letter was posted in the mailroom saying that there was a racist profiling, not mentioning our name, but it was in reference to that night. It was taken down 2 times. And then I believe there was an email sent to our HOA then asking for this letter to be sent to all the residents in our community. And after a video was sent of me, they decided to not share the message to the whole neighborhood. And so maybe 4 days ago, both videos of me, praise God, the other one, the one of me apologizing, was posted as well, which I do appreciate the transparency there. But once again, the videos were posted in our neighborhood page, attaching racism and profiling to, my name wasn't said, but the video was very clear of me on the Ring doorbell with my daughter, with me looking at the man saying, is this your home? And he said, yes. And I said, I don't believe that it is. And because of those words came out of my mouth, and because he was a black man, I have been pointed as being racist. Although it was very dark. Yeah, so, and like I said, I truly, like 60 seconds later, ran to the woman's house, and I told her that I thought he was a younger white guy. So the neighborhood, yes, it was posted in the neighborhood page. I've had some neighbors who have been very, very gracious and have reached out to us, and they know that the integrity of my family, that is not who we are. Unfortunately, there have been a lot of other people who have kind of rallied behind what's happening. And so the page is crazy. There's been a lot happening within our neighborhood. The posts were taken down. I never requested the post to be taken down. I did go into our neighborhood Facebook page, and I went live, and I publicly apologized to the homeowners once again. And I will also, I try, like, truly, like, if there's anything that I can apologize for, I will. There was never racial intent. Ever. What I will apologize for is sorry for sharing the story of me being scared. I could absolutely be slower to speak. There was, I was truly just sharing the story. And so I'm sorry that I didn't necessarily think about your heart and the way that maybe it could have hurt your heart. But it was never to the neighborhood. It was me just sharing the story about a man and being a woman and my babies and the whole thing. And if you guys don't know, because I think it's important to say it, there has been multiple instances where I have actually not these scenarios, but I've actually been pursued. And there was the man in Houston that I shared about as well. And that's why I just love to give context. I love to share. I just more so, like, as a mom, like, in those lives, I said I wouldn't undo what I did. The way that I acted, the way I reacted, I would do it 1,000,000 times over. Because what if that really would have happened? When I was in Houston, Texas, I had a sex offender, a registered sex offender, profile us. He knew where I lived. He knew what time my husband went to the gym. He knew what car my husband drove. And he came to my house when my husband was gone. And I was in Houston, Texas, and I was followed 20 minutes home, and my car was broken into when I was at the store. And when I was a little girl, we had a man banging on our door and helicopters hovering over our home. So, did I overreact? Yeah, maybe a little bit. But I showed up at the door and I said that I was sorry 2 times. People are going as far as saying they're not genuine apologies, that I'm out to get him for whatever reason that is. I don't know how it could be twisted that way when I literally thought he was a white man. So I knew it wasn't going to stop there, but the Facebook page stuff was deleted. Not me ever asking for any of it to be deleted. I made a public apology to them through the video to a whole Facebook page of almost 500 residents in our neighborhood. And then I posted in the comments multiple times when people were just saying, like, disgusting and just tearing down our family's name. I once again came on and I said, if there's ever an opportunity to reconcile, like, I will. I'm so sorry I could have ever offended you. And so I've absolutely apologized multiple times. It's not been accepted. So now I woke up today and John starts sending me screenshots of people going on all of my social media channels. And, I had to make my pages private, on one of the videos of us talking about opening our store. There were over 360 comments, some of which absolutely were from our members. But I would say over 300 of them within a 10-minute span, were from people coming to absolutely attack us, saying anything and everything you can imagine, from hating on my faith, tying that to racism and me not being who I say I am, to my family, to be on a lookout, to our business is destroyed, to you can imagine everything that's being said.
So Peace, there you have it. I want to hear from you. Do you think she was being racist? Do you think it was an innocent mistake? I mean, at the end of the day, it's night. She sees a car pull up. What are you going to think? Usually the person kind of watches and see where the person is pulling into, but she immediately assumed that this person didn't belong there. I'm curious to hear what you all have to think. My personal opinion, I think she does have some trauma. Some white women are just not used to seeing black men in positions of power, living in wealthy neighborhoods. And it could be some type of prejudice that she grew up with and that she naturally lives with. But who knows what's in her heart? But overall, I think Shannon Sharpe kind of said some valid points. I want to hear what your thoughts is. Leave it in the comment. I love healthy dialogue and conversation. Let's keep the conversation going. And don't forget, if you're not already subscribed, hit the subscribe button. 99% of you who watch our videos are not subscribed. And let's change that. Hey, this is King Messiah. I appreciate your support.